abuse, spiritual abuse, and in red, physical abuse. We're going to play some videos in a moment, and you're going to find out this.
Tonight on Grady Newsource. Last year, more than 40,000 incidents of family violence were reported. 70% of reported family violence were women. We will take you to a training that is designed to de-escalate domestic violence situations. Also, meet the new superintendent of the Oconee County School System, Dr. Melissa Butler.
I just can't wait to become a part of this community and this school system.
Finally, take a look ahead at Georgia football hosting Alabama for the first time in 10 years this Saturday. All that and more tonight on Grady Newsource. Tonight on Grady Newsource. Last year...
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College at the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
Good evening and welcome to Grady Newsource. I'm Laurie Ruby. We begin with a developing story out of Texas, with shots fired at an ICE detention facility in Dallas earlier this morning. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem confirmed on X that there were multiple injuries and fatalities. She also confirmed that the shooter is deceased by a self-inflicted gunshot wound. One victim died and 2 others were critically injured in the shooting. The FBI is currently investigating this as, quote, an act of targeted violence. And Richmond County police officers have 2 suspects in custody after a shooting at the Augusta Mall yesterday. Just after 1 p.m., calls to 911 reported a shooting that injured 1 man. 1 suspect was found at the mall and another running toward a nearby gas station. The shooting began as a fistfight and quickly escalated when 1 man pulled out a gun. And students in Athens-Clarke County schools are getting a first-hand experience of how dangerous distracted driving can be. Grady Newsource reporter Michaela Maxwell has the story on how the Southeastern chapter of the National Safety Council is simulating these conditions.
From the vaccine, but experts say the real risk comes from not getting it.
Parents think that it
3 new measles cases are confirmed in Georgia. Grady Newsource reporter Lauren Wright talked to health officials who warned that a drop in immunizations could be fueling the rise in cases.
From the vaccine, but experts say the real risk comes from not getting it.
parents think that it may and don't want to risk that. But then if you're not getting your childhood vaccinations, you're at risk of getting the actual disease later on, which could be either real discomfortable or, harmful.
The MMR vaccine, which protects against measles, mumps, and rubella, is safe and highly effective.
The MMR vaccine is actually highly effective against measles in particular. It protects against measles, mumps, and rubella, so it's a 3-in-1. But the measles component is over 90% effective.
From the vaccine.
Today, many dogs in the Northeast Georgia Animal Shelter are at risk of euthanasia. Yesterday, 14 dogs were taken in, causing the shelter to reach critical capacity. There are now 0 open runs. Adoptions, fosters, or rescues are needed to save these dogs. You can meet adoptable dogs this Saturday at the Livonia Fall Festival or during shelter hours. And the Athens-Clarke County Department is partnering with the Library and Books for Keeps to benefit Little Free Libraries. Children and teen books can be donated now through October 24th for National Family Literacy Month. Grady Newsource reporter Sydney Palmer shows us why this initiative is so important in Athens.
What started as a class project,
I didn't realize that it was going to be as successful,
has turned into an annual initiative to combat low literacy rates in Athens-Clarke County.
I set a goal. I said, I just want 500 books.
But the community had other plans.
That year, doing the book drive, it led to, I think about 1,100 or 1,200 books.
Tracy James, a records clerk at the Athens-Clarke County Police Department, developed the drive in 2022 during her MBA program. And 3 years later, the need still exists.
We're working very hard to fight that literacy gap. There's tons of studies that once you reach that 3rd grade level, if you're behind, you're going to stay behind the rest of your school, career, and life.
According to the nation's report card in 2024, 62% of Georgia's 3rd graders are not reading proficiently, but experts say having books in the home can make all the difference.
It's very important. We want families to all have books in the home because if kids don't have access, they're not going to read. If they only have books at school, they are not going to engage together as a family. So we really want parents and kids to read together.
And the book drive will benefit little free libraries just like this one across Athens, Clarke County. That way, the community can simply open up the library and grab a book.
Helping to raise literacy rates one book at a time, because Tracy believes literacy is an issue that impacts all of us.
This is a community thing, and the kids are our kids. It might not affect you personally because you can already read or you're educated or whatever, but it's somebody out there that can't.
From Grady Newsource, I'm Sydney Palmer. What started as a class
Last year, Georgia reported more than 40,000 incidents of family violence. 70% of the victims were women. This morning, the Madison County Sheriff's Office held a domestic violence training for deputies and locals on how to respond to domestic disputes. Grady Newsource reporter Rebecca Schillinger is live at the training center. Hi, Becca. What are some signs to identify a domestic abuse situation?
Thank you, Lori. Domestic abuse can go way past physical abuse. It also involves an emotional state and a financial state. I was here this morning and observed a 3-hour training center, and I will take you into it.
Psychological abuse, financial abuse, sexual abuse, spiritual abuse, and in red, physical abuse. We're going to play some videos in a moment, and you're going to find out this has been going on in that relationship for a long time, and it may never get to this.
For 3 hours, the Madison County Sheriff's Office trained deputies how to handle domestic violence situations. Lieutenant Glenn Cohen showed PowerPoints and taught them how to handle children and pets when responding to violent situations. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men aged 18 and older in the United States have been the victim of severe physical violence by an intimate partner in their lifetime.
But we do have a quantity of actual domestic violence cases, and we have some that have been ongoing for a while that we're working to try to mediate.
Members of the public are allowed to attend the domestic violence training. All you have to do is reach out to the Madison County Sheriff's Department. Today, no members of the public arrived. These videos showed how victims feel after bringing the case to court and why a lot of victims return to their abuser.
Yeah, we get a lot of calls with people arguing, but that's the good thing about this. If you heard earlier, a lot of arguing might go into farther of the abuse that we don't see.
Lieutenant Cohen provided deputies with important tools and questions to ask victims and offenders when responding to a domestic violence call.
Psychological abuse, financial abuse, sexual abuse, spiritual abuse, and in red, physical abuse.
Lieutenant Cohen also mentioned the SAFE program, which is where victims of domestic violence can go into support groups. They also have bilingual people to help you out. Thank you, Lori. Back to you.
Thanks, Becca. Coming up after the break, hear about Oconee County's new superintendent.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
After months of searching, Oconee County has officially appointed a new superintendent. Grady Newsource reporter Ethan Wilcox introduces us to Dr. Melissa Butler.
All hands were raised at last Thursday's special session meeting.
All in favor? Passing 5-0. We have no other business.
The Oconee County Board of Education unanimously approved the appointment of Dr. Melissa Butler as the new superintendent of the school district. Dr. Butler was the sole finalist after a 4-month search that began in May. She was selected after an extensive interview process.
You can tell this is someone who is committed to education, someone who cares about education, understands that student success is paramount, understands that teachers are really the glue that holds it all together.
Dr. Butler previously served over 10,000 students as the Deputy Assistant Superintendent in Catoosa County. She helped the district achieve its highest ever graduation rate. Butler has been mapping out her first few months on the job. She plans to visit each school and learn the ins and outs of the school district.
In my initial 90-day plan, I plan to visit every school and spend about a half day. I'd like to visit every classroom and just tour the campus with the principal.
Her appointment comes almost 50 days into the school year, meaning she'll have to settle in quickly.
I really believe that her plan is to hit the ground running. You know, there's not going to be a sitting behind the desk and answering phones and things like that.
Dr. Butler will earn an annual salary of $220,000 under a contract that runs through June of 2028. The board will have the option to extend her contract if desired. Melissa Butler will take over interim superintendent Deborah Hardin's position on October 14th. Reporting for Grady Newsource, I'm Ethan Wilcox.
Break, we'll give you a look at what to watch for Saturday night between the hedges.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
You're home before sunrise, on top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She carried 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight, both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back, because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
I'm Abby Halpin with a look at your sports. Today we're talking all things Georgia football and what to look for Saturday night between the hedges against Alabama. The 7:30 kickoff marks the first night game of the season, which will make for a loud environment that Alabama will have to deal with. Last time the Tide rolled into Athens 10 years ago, Alabama took Georgia for a dog walk and went back to Tuscaloosa with a 38-10 win. The Dogs haven't beaten the Crimson Tide at Sanford Stadium since October 2003. When most students on campus, including myself, weren't even born yet. Yesterday, tight end Oscar Delp spoke about the athleticism of the Tide.
They're a physical team. They're physical every year. They've got playmakers every
we're excited.
Of talented players, Alabama is getting 2 starters back Saturday, 1 on each side of the ball. Running back Jam Miller is coming off of a collarbone injury he sustained in August. And the Alabama run game has been lacking this year, ranking 13th in the SEC in rush yards per game. However, the Dogs' defense has been solid at stopping the run so far, only surrendering 82.7 rush yards per game, which is 6th least in the SEC. And on the other side of the ball for the Tide, star defensive tackle Tim Keenan III will be making his season debut after undergoing tightrope surgery back in August. Keenan is widely regarded as one of the best defensive players in the country. And the heavy emphasis of this game will be on the quarterbacks, with Ty Simpson and Gunnar Stockton calling the snaps. While Simpson has Stockton beat in the air, the Bulldogs QB has Simpson beat on the ground. Alabama ranks 2nd in the conference in passing yards per game with a 335.7 yard average. Now, Georgia's run defense has been towards the middle of the pack in the conference this season, but the return of Miller may pose a challenge, especially because Kirby Smart and his coaching staff don't have recent game film of Alabama's #1 back. This rivalry game is set to be loud and competitive, and thousands of eyes are set to be on it.
The SEC runs through Georgia and Alabama.
Fall is right around the corner, and that means changes in both our weather and our gardens. Jordan Lazinski shows us what you can plant this season, and she's got the weekly forecast after the break.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
You know, a lot of people say, when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. And I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right, because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign, not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a 4th ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
There is a road laid out for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
Hey, I'm Jordan Lazinski with a look at your weather. Soak up this last little bit of sunshine with highs in the 90s and lows in the 70s today. Moving on later into the week, we're looking at some thunderstorms in the morning and then lighter showers in the evening. But I know the only thing that you guys care about is that game on Saturday. We should be clear by around 3 o'clock, just in time for the Bulldogs, so say your prayers. And then moving into the last day of the week, Sunday, we've got sunny skies for those Sunday strolls, highs in the 80s and lows in the 60s. Hopping into the first week of fall, many of us are wondering what we can plant as the seasons transition in Northeast Georgia. Let's take a look at how you can best prepare.
We're saying goodbye to the warm summer days, and it's time for a change in the garden.
So you in about the evergreens. This time of year is the best time to plant them. It's also the best time to trim them when it's cooler.
Fall-friendly annuals like pansies, violas, and mums are ideal for adding a little color into your life this time of year. For veggies, you can go with kale, collards, lettuce, carrots, and beets. And for long-term structure, fall is perfect to plant shrubs and young trees such as the evergreens Mr. Lincoln mentioned. They'll settle in for winter for a stronger spring start.
Coming up after the break, a look at fall festivities in Northeast Georgia.
We scored? Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone.
What? I should take your phone away.
No. I'll call for a ride. Wait, why does my face look like that? I'm playing with these new face filters.
Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine.
But I need that back.
No.
Kevin!
This weekend, the city of Bogart is bringing the community together for food and fun. Grady Newsource reporter Lauren Coughlin brings us more about what to expect at the Bogart Fun Fest.
At the start of fall in Bogart is their annual festival. Mayor Janet Guest-Jones says what she wants with the festival is
just to bring the community together. That's one thing that I have tried very hard, and I've got an awesome gang, team, council that enjoys it too, and just a sense of community and bringing us back together. And we've got a lot of nice new young families coming into Bogart, and we're just tickled to death to share it with them.
Last year, their attendance of the festival was at a high.
I think last year was a record, and we had, almost 2,000 people, I think, came through here.
The lead maintenance for the city of Bogart, Jeff Morrow, does the prep for the festival and maintenance day of.
We make sure all the grounds are looking nice, setting up stages, setting up tents, having all the numbers lined out for the vendors so they know where they're going when they come in on either Friday night or Saturday morning.
I'm standing here on Main Street in Bogart, where the City Fun Fest will take place this coming Saturday. The festival offers a space for the community to gather and locals to engage in commerce.
Oh, goodness. We have everything from food vendors to craft, crocheting, woodworking, anything that you can think of, we'll have here.
With the prep already in action, Bogart is getting ready for the annual festival this weekend.
This particular area of the South, they love fall festivals, so you'll have folks coming from all over to just look around and see what you got. So.
I'm Lauren Coughlin with Grady Newsource.
Ranked 17th in the AP poll, the University of Alabama is scheduled to play Georgia this Saturday, and businesses have begun planning for this weekend. In order to capitalize on revenue expectations, local businesses tell Grady Newsource reporter Caleb Hensley how important this weekend truly is.
Just brings in a ton of foot traffic and really helps us out. It's the biggest days we get out here.
Full Circle staff member Will Jakowski mentioned relying on Georgia football to bring an influx of tourists to town. A study by Synergos Technologies shows that the transient population of Athens, meaning the number of overnight stays, peaks in the fall season and has a steep drop-off in the winter and spring. Jakowski alludes that the overnight stays peaking in the fall could be largely due to the visiting team and the magnitude of a matchup like this weekend's.
Like games like Alabama coming up, it brings in students obviously from Georgia, and then a ton of people come from Alabama too.
While some retailers rely on Georgia football-themed merch to account for the revenue increase on these weekends, in other industries, businesses are actually expanding outside of their domain on these weekends.
Everything kind of scales up. I mean, people end up wanting to do house parties and stuff, which we end up catering as well. So pretty much every leg just kind of grows 10 feet long.
Last year's Georgia-Alabama game had an attendance of over 100,000 people in Tuscaloosa. In recent expansion of Sanford Stadium, Georgia can now host over 93,000 people for this year's Georgia-Alabama game. With Grady Newsource, I'm Caleb Hensley.
2 Athens historical figures might get honored with the naming of a new green area in downtown Athens. Grady Newsource reporter Derek Oliveros brings us more.
Historic Athens is reaching out to the Athens community in hopes of honoring 2 important figures in Athens history. Historic Athens recently announced that it is seeking signatures to approve the name Richardson Davis Park for the new green area next to the Costa Building. The Costa Building was originally built as an ice cream parlor. The building has since been repurposed to house different departments of the Athens-Clarke County Unified Government and the Hot Corner mural that depicts several historical and local figures. The Richardson Davis name honors Alfred Richardson and Madison Davis, the first 2 African-American legislators to be a part of the Georgia General State Assembly. I talked with Ava Oldman and Sarah Frazier with Historic Athens to learn more.
But these 2 individuals are people that we have recognized for years as an organization and are really excited to have this prime opportunity to honor the Hot Corner legacy through the Hot Corner mural that is there by the Costa Building, and really add this educational, historical impact of these great figures to that memory without impeding on any other names that are already there.
Yeah, this is a really great educational touch point for the community to honor these 2 men who have really gone as like unsung heroes for the past 200 something years. And so we're really, really grateful that this is a chance to honor them and honor their legacy.
The petition needs 1,000 inked signatures in order to go through. Petition packets can be found in the Historic Athens office at Old Fire Hall No. 2, the Welcome Center for Historic Athens, and certain Historic Athens partner organizations. Reporting for Grady Newsource, I'm Derek Oliveros.
A record-breaking 262 concerts are on the schedule for this year's 7th annual Historic Athens Porch Fest, which will return on October 19th. Local musicians will perform on porches around 7 walkable historic neighborhoods right here in Athens. Historic Athens Senior Director of Operations, Denise Sunta, who is working to organize this event, says the reason she loves Porch Fest is because it celebrates the diversity and creativity of the Athens community.
But our ability to rally around shared things, and not just football, but like all of the things that kind of make our community unique, especially our music scene. I love the fact that it is accessible so anybody can participate in it because we have so much great talent in this community.
Also new this year is the inclusion of local food trucks at a park in Authentic Brewing. Sunta said attendees often don't know where to eat at the festival, and she's excited to include a new group of Athens entrepreneurs in the festival. And that concludes our show. Thank you so much for our viewers at home for watching. We'll see you next week on Monday. From Grady Newsource, I'm Laurie Ruby.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far. A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
your home before sunrise. On top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
You did not hear an applause for our producer, first time producing a new show, Derek. Nice job. We did have a few hiccups, but that's to be expected. We are still learning. I thought, yes, and also an applause for our anchor, who dealt very well with all the hiccups we had. I probably shouldn't be saying that because maybe the viewers didn't even notice that certain things didn't go right, and she managed to smooth them out and keep going. She did double duty also. She did an interview at the end on Porch Fest that was from you. And so a lot of hard work, and we will also hear from her because she wants to produce our solutions show. So triple duty today. Well done, well done. Very good presentation. Abby too, lots of energy, very interesting content, very good writing. Just a little more smile, especially when you said some people were not born, at that time. I can't believe you weren't born in 2003, but anyway, I was. So just a little more smile, but you had the energy, you had some great graphics, and Jordan too, all our anchors, very well done. I love the transition to the donut that you did. Just don't pan with the camera, with the smartphone. It doesn't work. And same with you. You had one pan which was a little dizzying. You know what I mean with the pan when you go around with the camera like this? Unless you can really steady it and go very slow. Great close-ups, a beautiful video, very well framed. Everything was wonderful until we got to that pan. Same with you, great close-ups. You have a great eye for close-ups until we saw that pan. So that's a small thing, but I have to say something, because then your work will be perfect if you don't have that pan. Yeah, so that's, but all our anchors performed wonderfully. Lots of energy, wonderful, wonderful performance, and also our producer, first-time producer. We had hiccups, which is good learning experience. Our live shot, note to all of you, you need to get to your live shot, especially if you're going to Madison County. You have to leave like 3:30 probably, as early as possible, because we had to float. Derek learned how to float and think of where to put a live shot that we couldn't start our show with, because we wanted to start our show with that live shot. So when our plans fell through, he had to think quickly, and you can tell everybody what you did when we realized that we wouldn't have the live shot on time. So you tell us. Is there a microphone I need to be holding? Oh, yes, you do need to be holding them. Thank you, Izzy. That's a team way of
Okay, so it got to be, I don't know, maybe like 3-4 minutes before the live show was starting, and we didn't have feed from the live shot just yet. So because we had a few minutes before the show actually started, we decided to move the live shot, which was originally scheduled to open up the A block, pushing it back to the end of the A block. So the volunteer and Becca had enough time to set it up and make sure we weren't rushing them into something that wasn't fully prepped just yet. So yeah, it was just moving it to the back of the A block to make sure that it still had a spot in the show.
Any other thoughts that you want to share with people from your crash course in live newscast?
I don't know.
I don't want to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had Blakely, would you like to grab a mic? And because we need to know what happened. There were a lot of package, Mickey's package was not in the system, and there were a few false starts with packages. How can we better communicate to avoid that from happening? The pre-show tease had the second take on it, and we had to get out of that second take.
Yes.
How did that happen, and how can we make it better? That's what I'm trying to get to. How can we avoid that?
Yeah, so the pre-show tease, that was just a tech issue. We just weren't clicked on the right file. So that was nothing like on y'all's part. The main thing, get your packages in on time. After 4:30, we don't have time to go and like check for new packages and like go through the list and make sure they're there. Like there's just not time. So if they're not in by 4:30, they're not gonna be there. And so that's huge. If you have a SOT or a video or of any kind, check your audio. Sometimes it doesn't always sound like when you recorded it. So just check the levels on there, adjust the gain. I know we had some issues with that today.
We couldn't hear your SOTs, so check your audio.
Yeah, the sports SOTs were like super quiet for some reason.
Barely audible. I don't know if you noticed, but they were barely audible.
And then when you're uploading your files to, like when you're putting them in the rundown, don't use the files that have like a period underscore. When you upload stuff into SmallTree, it like puts in two versions of it, I guess. The period underscore things do not load right into the TriCaster system. They like mess stuff up. So you need to make sure it doesn't have that in the title. So that we don't have to go like searching for it or it doesn't like crash the whole system. And then when you're putting those in, also keep the whole script template in. That's what tells us when we're taking certain packages and stuff. Same thing with graphics. That was one of the other issues today was if you don't keep the script template in that says this is where the graphics going in, when we go to rundown and we're like loading everything into the TriCaster, the graphics won't be on the list of like things to load in. So you have to have that template in order for us to see that to put it in, if that makes sense. And then just like for future reference for us, we're gonna load in all the floated packages just in case they get unfloated. That's never happened before, so we just hadn't run into it. But we'll just keep those in just in case. And I think that's everything. Yeah, it was a great show.
Yes,
did great.
It was a great show,
Yes.
and we thank you and your volunteers.
Yes, of course.
You've trained them well.
They're doing great.
And we made a lot of changes, and everybody kept up with those changes.
Yes.
So thank you, Blakely.
Thank you.
Remind us, speaking of graphics, Caleb, you were using a graphic that could have been copyrighted. You cannot use make your own graphic. You took that from, you can't do this. You have to make your own graphic or just not use a graphic because graphics they are a work of art. They are copyrighted, so we can't use those. Be very careful with those things. I had just one thing, Laurie, because you had already mentioned Mickey's name and you had tossed to her package, you should have apologized very quickly without drawing too much attention. You just could have said something like, we apologize right now, we don't have that video, we will try to bring that to you later in the show. Moving on now to another topic, that's the only thing as anchors, sometimes reading a lead is like, maybe the viewers have not realized, it sounds like a reader, but once you've mentioned the person's name and actually tossed to the package, and then we went to the wrong package. When we go to a wrong package, again, just quickly apologize without drawing too much attention because the viewers have seen that. Remember, I showed you that blooper from the BBC where the guy was pretending like nothing had happened. Well, the viewers know that, what has happened. So that was not as awkward as that. But I deliberately show it to my students so that they know to avoid that. Otherwise, you guys just keep getting better. I have very few notes that, great, just don't pan, don't use copyrighted graphics. Otherwise, great video, all of you do a great job. These are just little things, just nitpicking. And that's from me. We have other things that we need to cover. Anybody wants to share something before we go to Athens-Clarke County and to Laurie, who have things to tell us? Anybody has a question? Or wonderful work, all of you. Very nice. Sydney also very nice. And Lauren, I don't know how you pulled this off. She pulled off. So remember, her story didn't work this morning. She pulled off a health story with 2 different sources representing different points of view in no time. And she had a package. It was uploaded in time. It was really impressive. It was really impressive. So, and I think you deserve a Play-Doh. I think you deserve a Play-Doh for that. I'm going to get you a Play-Doh. Before I do that, any other questions or anything? Who wants to go first, Athens-Clarke County or Laurie?
Maybe I can go first so that
Okay. Can I just grab that Play-Doh? And I will be back. You can get started. I'm listening.
Okay, so my idea for the Sojo show is, as far as the producing goes, I don't want it to just be like, anchor package, because that gets really boring. And I also don't want it to just be us presenting what y'all came up with. I actually want the producing and the show itself to be a piece of solutions journalism. So the problem that I'm presenting with the producing is that viewership trust in the media is at an all-time low, and a major reason for that is because a lot of members of the public don't understand how journalism works, or they've never seen the process of it. So they might not trust our final products, right? Why does it look like that? Why did you choose these sources? Why did you frame it that way? Stuff like that. So for the show, I want us all to present our process, kind of tear down the curtain and show them how we made what we made. So every group will do a piece before their final product that is something along the lines of like a 2-shot with the interview, like you'll sit with the anchor at the desk and do a little interview, like how did you get here? How did you write this? What was the most difficult part of your reporting? Stuff like that. We could also do a live shot from an important location in your story and do an interview there, like a live 2-box interview. The one that I really would love, if any groups are game, as a documentary style intro package that's like 2 minutes long, 1.5 minutes long, that kind of goes through like almost like The Office. Like, how did you do this? What was your day-to-day like? Like, when did you get rejected? Stuff like that. So I have a doc that lays this all out because I'm sure I'm like blabbing and it's not all coming out 100% how I want it to. But yeah, I really think it would be cool if not only y'all made Sojo, but us producers also did Sojo, and we all kind of wrapped it together really neatly. So yeah, that's my idea. So if anyone is game for the documentary, I would love that. But I also want us to do some interviews so that our anchors can get good experience. We can also throw someone on Weather Wall. Yeah, I think we can do some really fun stuff with it, and I'm very excited.
And I'm very excited, and you deserve one as well for your triple duty.
I haven't even done it yet.
So we have 2 stars here. Guys, I'm running out of Play-Dohs. I'm going to order some more because there's just so much here, talent. And
any ideas of how you would like to present your package, please tell me, because I'm so open to y'all's ideas. So yeah, who's ACC?
Okay, our issue that we're focusing on is literacy rates in Athens, and then also access to programs to improve literacy rates, if that makes sense, like libraries, reading programs. So the specific solution that we're focusing on is Books for Keeps, which is a nonprofit they have a lot of programs, but they do book drives, they do literacy mentors. So the people we've reached out to, we had the person talking about the problem, the person on the street interview, and then we've reached out to the executive director of Books for Keeps. We've reached out to 2 UJ professors who like specialize in that like kind of like field of research about language and child development and reading. And then they have an event at the beginning of October that we're going to go to, and there we're going to hopefully talk to some parents and maybe some children. And yeah.
Not hopefully, you will.
Oh, well, we will, yes.
Because you have to have the beneficiaries. And I wrote to you guys that your next step is to secure access. I love the fact that October 16th, you've got an event, you can capture how the solution works. That is a must for a solution story. You have to be able to show how it works. So you have that event, beautiful. But before the event, make sure you have access to film. Make sure if you need permission to film the parents and the children, you secure that so when you get there on the 16th, there are no surprises like they say, no, you can't film the children, nobody wants to talk to you, parents, which I doubt that will be the case, but just make sure that you don't miss that only date, right, where you can actually film your solution, because without that, I don't want to make you nervous, but you don't have a solution story without having one of these drives, these events. So very nice. Yeah, I just wrote a few things I thought about, gave you a few comments, so they're all in the Google Doc. Very nice. It's a very nice idea, and but we need the visuals, and you need to make the most of that. October 16th.
Yes.
Do we have a class on that day? What day of the week? It's a Thursday. Okay. Sounds good. Should we hear really quickly from Jackson County? I haven't seen your pitch, but I will. Again, you've been doing all the talking and working. I'll ask somebody from your team because you keep doing all the work for that. So who else is on the team? Derek, you're on the team as well? Jackson County? And Josh, I want you to, hear from you guys.
So for our solutions package, the thing that we kept hearing from everybody was about the infrastructure problems, and recently Jackson County had gone through and improved and implemented different strategies to help pathways, roadways, intersections, all the types of things that people are kind of complaining about in that community. And so we are going to choose to highlight one of the implemented solutions and explain how we got here and how it's impacting the community in a positive way.
What is that solution?
The last time I looked at it, there was a list of a bunch of categories, and I don't.
So when you spoke to, because I think Mickey spoke to, you did an interview today, or you spoke to someone, did you nail down one, you see how specific their solution is. It is Book for Keeps. October 16th, there's going to be an event, so they will be actually filming how the solution works. How do they give those books to the children, So that's what I'm looking for with you. It's got to be a big infrastructure project that has been implemented and is showing results. And you get to talk to the beneficiaries, the people who live and who, let's say, suffered through this bottleneck like we have here down the street, and all of a sudden they're relieved. I'm hoping we'll be relieved in December that we won't have this traffic backup. So this is what we're looking for. We're looking for one problem like this thing here that was solved, like let's say a year or so ago, and now people are relieved and it's working and it's showing evidence, and you're talking to the people who live around there who tell you what it was like before, what it is now, what are the benefits of this, what are the limitations. That's what we're looking for. So have you found anything that's specific like their solution, or are you still looking for something?
Working from the ground up, everyone said transportation because they don't have a transportation solution. I spoke with them today, and they basically admitted that Jackson County needs transportation improved, and they have some things, but basically she listed out yeah, we need to fix this, and basically
But what have
admitted,
they fixed?
yeah, and basically admitted that they don't have very
Okay.
strong things. And so I think we're going to have to kind of move away. People all are saying transportation, but we can't do a solutions journalism story on transportation because they haven't found that solution. So I think we're going to have to get people to talk about something else because they're all coming to us with that, but it just doesn't exist.
Okay. Don't despair. There's another way to do that. What you can do is look around in the surrounding counties and see maybe Oconee County has found some kind of solution to a transportation problem and cover that. Go back to your county and say, you have this problem. People told us that this was a big problem. Here we would like to play this piece, or we would like to show you this solution. Do you think that that would be feasible? Collect some insights from Oconee County?
Yeah, and so I did end up asking her, like, okay, if you feel this way, what do you want to do? And she did mention Banks County, which is their neighbor to the north.
All right.
And then as well as WeGo, that's a service that helps get people that are working to their employers. So we did talk about those two things. So I think we'll just have a
Then do that.
solution that's
Perfect.
not in Jackson County.
Perfect. Perfect. And she mentions that that would be good for their. That's perfect. Well, I have to see the pitch, but that sounds like a great idea. I love it. I love it. And is that in the pitch you sent me?
No, ma'am. So I sent you the original one we had where they basically said, but we can fix one for you.
Okay, that's what I need from you guys.
Okay.
So by, let's say, Monday, can you have that pitch to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Sounds great. And if you need a little extra time, I can go to Wednesday, but no more.
I should be able to get it done by Monday.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. That's another way to do a solution story.
Yeah, because Jackson County is tough. It's a very large city and, or county, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a very large county, many cities. It was kind of interesting that we did have the through line of like every city we went to was complaining about transportation. So, but
So
yeah,
that tells you something. It's a big issue.
it's a big issue for sure.
Yeah. It's all, it's all learning experience. It's to be there in the community. It's very interesting. It's eye-opening. So I hope you guys had an interesting time and learned, even though I know you struggled with finding an idea. But I think you learned a lot, and I'm sure that you had some interesting conversations, and it's all part of the learning process by doing the real work. Any questions that you have? Could we help as a team? Could we help you guys? Or
How your counties have implemented transportation solutions, please feel free to reach out and let us know. Obviously, we will be doing independent research and figuring out what the solutions are for ourselves, but if anybody has any ideas, would absolutely love to hear them. Yes. Down there.
Something I just saw on Madison County's Facebook is they also do something similar to what Mickey was talking about with taking people to their employers. So I think that that could be a big thing, especially with, we know, the economy right now and the fact that people need to get to work. So if you look on Madison County, I believe it's their Chamber of Commerce Facebook page. You can learn more about it. They're doing an event in the park on Monday. So depending on what happens in Madison next week when we talk to people, I could imagine that it's a big issue since the Chamber of Commerce is doing something about it. But that's also something to look into in Madison County.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sydney.
And again, reminding you guys, it's got to be something implemented that is showing results. But I think I'm confident that you guys will find out.
I think WeGo, it is already established, and she said they are
Yeah.
trying to measure how it works in the two surrounding communities. So I think that's going to be our best bet because they're in business themselves.
Yeah.
That is established.
And how far is Banks County?
It's their north, so it's right after Jackson County. So
Yeah.
I probably think it's about 45, 50 minutes to get there.
Well, you'll have a little driving to do, but it's so worth it. That's going to be a different way, like right, Laurie? A different way to do a solution story, so it will add more to our show, I think. Just showing different ways of never give up. You know, if there are no fixes in your county, there's always something you can find. All right, guys, any, of course.
I gave y'all a lot of vision, but I didn't actually say anything specific for y'all to do. So could we just try, as we're all in our groups, keep note of every time your story actually changes or pivots or shifts in any way, because that is the process that we're talking about. And then try to record, even if it's like audio or video, when you ask for interviews, whether that's your person on the streets or with an actual source, so that we can see how many times journalists are turned away, because I think that's a really interesting and difficult part of our process. Take photos, get B-roll of the things that you do, even if they seem boring, monotonous. Who wants to see this? Because we don't want to end up with long readers of us talking about the boring stuff that makes this product without visuals. So just take the photos, you never know when we might need them. And just like remember, we're trying to humanize ourselves the way that we do our subjects. So think about what you would want to see on screen if you were watching a journalist, if that helps. And I'll send you guys this doc so that you can actually see it. But yeah, just try to make sure that you keep a little note so that we don't get a month and a half down the line and you're like, I don't remember. So yeah.
I took some photos of you and the class. That's part of documenting how we did that. Not sure they're very good. You guys are such good photographers. I love your photos and your B-roll. Don't get me wrong, even though you had pans, you guys have a great eye for video. I love watching your videos. So, and I will send those to you. That's part of documenting. Okay, guys, you've done a great job 3 minutes early. So you should rest well. You've done a great job and can't wait for next week. Really a great group, and we'll keep getting better.